Hi, my name is Kyler Knight, and a long time ago, before COVID-19 struck, I used to work at a movie theater. I was an assistant manager, and one of my employees, who was also a great friend, he lent me a copy of his movie called Natural Born Killers. It was written by Quentin Tarantino. It was one of his earlier movies that he didn't direct. He's sort of famous for being a writer-director, doing both. And so I was very interested in it. I've read several of his scripts. I've got some of them right here. I want to be a screenwriter. I really enjoy reading screenplays. So I lent my friend a copy of Natural Born Killers, sort of in turn. He gave me the DVD. I gave him the script. But when I gave it to him, he didn't understand how to read it. He had a few questions. So I had to sort of explain what the jargon was, how the format worked. And that's what I'm going to do for you today. I'm going to teach you the basics. You're not going to know everything. There's going to be certain things, if you were to crack open Natural Born Killers today, you wouldn't get it all. But I'm going to give you just enough so that you can understand, so you can follow what's going on. So let's dive in. How to read a screenplay. So for our example movie, we're going to use one of the most acclaimed screenplays of all time, and it was the winner, Best Screenplay, at the 47th Academy Awards. And it's Chinatown. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a great movie. It's a good time for movies. 1976. The 70s were great. It was written by Robert Towne, very acclaimed screenwriter. We're going to be looking at a 30-second scene on page 22. And here we go. Let's just go straight in. Okay, looks crazy, right? Let's break it down bit by bit. The top line you see is called a scene heading. So you got an int dot department, water and power, hall. Let's break it down even further. First, we got the interior. That's what INT means. So the people producing a movie, they need to know whether or not they're going to be shooting outside or inside. So the interior versus an exterior, the interior means that they're shooting inside in a set usually. So interior, department, water and power is the location. So that means that this is taking place in a government building facility. And then we got a dash to break it up. And then in this screenplay, it says hall, meaning that we have sort of a sub-location here. But usually what you have there is the time of day. You'll have night or day. All right, so Giddys. Who's Giddys? He's the protagonist of our story. Jack Nicholson plays him. Giddys stops outside a door marked, and notice that actions that take place in a screenplay are always going to be in present tense. There's no past tense. So Giddys stops outside of a door marked, and then we have Hollis J. Mulray, Chief Engineer, in all caps. Why is it in all caps? Because it's on a sign. It's the sign on the door that he's about to enter. He enters an outer office. The secretary, and since this is the first appearance of the character, of the secretary, she looks, sorry, technical challenge. Since this is the first appearance of the character, she's in all caps. Giddys, we've already met him earlier. This is page 22. Since he's the protagonist, you've already met Giddys. So, the secretary, she looks surprised. And then when we have a character's dialogue, we have their name before the dialogue. And it's always in all caps, and it's always indented. And so, here's the dialogue. Giddys says, "Mr. Mulray, please." And notice that the dialogue is also indented. Not quite as much, but it always is. The secretary says, "He's not in, Mr. Giddys. May I ask what this is regarding?" "It's personal." "Has he been out long?" The secretary says, "Since lunch." "Gee whiz." Giddys, notice, he glances at his watch. So this is what they call parentheticals. These are tiny stage directions that are used between dialogue if an actor needs to be doing something, with their body or whatever, to add an emphasis to what they're saying. So he glances at his watch and he says, "And I'm late." The secretary says, he was expecting you?" 15 minutes ago. Why don't I go in and wait?" And without waiting for a response, he does. The secretary half rises in protest, but Giddys is through the inner door. Okay, so now you know the basics. I'm going to give you a little link at the end of this, hopefully in my posting, so you can see, if you want to watch that 30-second scene, you can sort of actually see if you did a good job visualizing it with me. But now that you know the basics, if I were to give you this copy of Natural Born Killers, maybe you wouldn't love it, but you could understand what was going on in it. Anyway, so thank you for your attention. I hope that maybe one day you'll take an interest and check out a screenplay.